So for today's Nobody Lolcow, we have a trans fetishist, somebody who becomes trans for the fetish as opposed to becoming trans for the typical reasons, and somebody that you, of course, never heard of, thus the name Nobody Lolcows. But regardless of that, it did seem that they once had a pretty decent following on Twitter with roughly 1,000 followers, but that account's long since gone. They have no video platforms. They primarily exist within the art sphere, not to be confused with the art commentary sphere. They are a bit different, even though there's a Venn diagram there of retardation. The account they have now is Jamber. Realistically, their entire account is filled with little more than spurging. But regardless, this person's dream is to become an animator.
I am an animator. I'm an animator. Okay?
And as you'll be able to tell later on in this video, that dream will probably never happen. However, before I go too far down that rabbit hole, let me first talk about my Subscribe Star. Now, of course, if you don't want to pay me money, you can just like, subscribe, and all that other gay shit. But if you really, really like my shit, you know, check out my Subscribe Star. Help me help you. Watch me drink. Anyways, enough about that shit. Let's just go straight into everybody's favorite pastime. Dead naming weirdos on the internet. So who are we talking about? Well, today we're talking about somebody named James Thomas Adam. What an interesting name. Like, instead of having like 1 or 2 first names, this person has 3. It's weird. You know what's more weird than that? This family photo. Holy shit. This family photo reeks of like those documentaries that take place shortly after some kid like shoots up a school and you have a whole bunch of family saying like, I don't get it. We never saw the signs. He was just that weird awkward kid that was off away from all the rest of the other family members, crossing his arms and staring down at the ground because he's totally not a psychopath. But hey, let us not devolve into speculatory reasoning, okay? That's wrong. We don't want to have any conspiracy theory here. We care about evidence and stuff that people say and all that stuff, etc. And what really matters here is the passage that I'm having Enlaa read to you, because remember, there's no visual medium here with most of the shit associated with this person. So Enlaa is going to read to you all the messages that you're going to be seeing in this video, and this particular message is interesting because this James Thomas or whatever has a very interesting take on everybody's favorite Elliot Rodger. This guy, the mass shooter guy.
I agree with a lot of Elliot Rodger's rhetoric. Oh boy. I sympathize with him a lot. I agree with a lot of incel rhetoric. I sympathize with the Columbine kids to an extent. I am an incel.
And the best part about all of that is that James, aka Jamber, coped really hard over this because the person that they were having this conversation with asked basic questions about how disturbing that is, and so there's just a mountain of copium as a result of that. It goes on forever. And what's really cool about that school shooter moment is the mentioning of incel, saying that they are an incel, like they've also said here.
I am an incel.
Well, the funny thing about that is the fact that they themselves said that they became trans just so they could get laid easier.
I transitioned partially to get laid easier. This has not panned out. It is either an indictment of me not passing well enough, or an indictment of me transitioning at all that I haven't gotten laid. I transitioned because James was a hopeless, reprobate incel. He was 5'3", chubby, and oddly effeminate. No girl would have fucked him. I had to change to get laid, and I failed.
How is that working out for you? But we're going to get into that a little bit more later, because something I want to bring up is the fact that this person thinks like everybody is out to rape them.
I'm gonna go cry in my bed. I would like to have friends that actually treat me like a fleshed out person. A partner who isn't sexually assaulting me or trying to drug or rape me. What the fuck? I need to go to bed, Lamau. Sorry, I'm really drunk. And when I get drunk, I get worried about everyone being a raping pedophile. I'm worried I'm going to die. He didn't end up taking me. I got scared a doctor would rape me, so I just never went. Now I'm crying this headache won't end. I'll wake up and faint. My dreams are all trauma nightmares. All my dreams are either me being violently raped, molested. No, Full Lane is saying the N-word and yelling at me and talking about my micropenis. Then talking about my hypothetical rape. Steven doesn't want me to go to the hospital, and will tell me to calm down. I'm also worried about getting raped again. Doctors tend to rape me. I was almost raped my first week in LA, raped and mugged. And I had an incident in school that was very traumatizing. I was almost arrested and kicked out of school. My life was almost ruined. Okay, I gotta get my glasses for this one. Ahem. I am a recovering sexual assault and emotional abuse survivor. I am exclusively T for T and want to find community in other artistic, creative, trans, queer individuals. I'm terrified I'll never find that. People keep trying to prevent me from attaining stability and building community. I deserve to have quality friendships and romantic partners who aren't sexually assaulting me or being emotionally neglectful. I want to be viewed and treated as more than a cis-passing trans girl that you make out with twice at a bar, or someone easy to sexually abuse. I am a complex person. I've done some fucked up things that I acknowledge, but I can also be kind, empathetic, and I am artistic and creative. I deserve to find genuine love and companionship, and people constantly keep trying to sabotage my life and make me want to kill myself. I've attempted suicide twice in the past 7 months. I've ended up in a mental ward where I got molested constantly and misgendered and treated as some androgynous freak or weird masked woman with a deep voice and slight facial hair. I'm extremely resilient, but it takes its toll. I don't know why Vlad wants me to read this, but apparently they said the word rape 109 times.
If you're trying really hard to get laid, and you become trans just to get laid more easily, wouldn't the risk of getting raped probably be a good thing because at least you're getting laid? Like, really though, jokes aside, like, do you really think that doctors are trying to rape you every time you see them? What kind of weird unhinged shit is that? But if that wasn't enough to prove that this person is incredibly unhinged, they like to threaten suicide every time they don't get their way. A friend of mine made a montage of all the times that they did that. It's a bit weebish and gay. I'll play that now. So if you weren't looking at the screen just then, just know that this person has threatened suicide a lot and is still very much not dead. Very disappointing. Like, it doesn't matter if I think that he is unstable or not, because I'm wrong. In fact, I am factually wrong. And the reason I'm factually wrong is because according to Jamber, aka James, he is too ontologically good. There's more to that sentence, but I don't know how to finish it without laughing.
I am too ontologically good and sexy to ever worry about things such as morality and doing good. I stole a cookie from the cookie jar, and you know what? Fuck you. I deserved it. I got mine. I like cookie.
But whatever, I guess that settles it. I guess James is a good person, I'm not, blah blah blah. But anyway, let us go into a little bit more detail on who this person really is. This person met an animator online named Carly something. It doesn't really matter. The point is that Carly took in James under her wing. An animator that worked on a lot of actually popular shows. Like, look at this. Seriously, this is their IMDb. This is real. This person managed to get moved into the home of an animator that makes a pretty decent living at that job. And through Carly, our protagonist James met someone else, another animator, that went by Ange, something. Here's her IMDb. She has an IMDb too. She's done a few cartoons. James and Ange, you see, they had a thing, or at least James says that they were gonna be, you know, in a relationship thing, I guess, or at least that was the goal. Point is, Ange wasn't having it. Apparently, Ange wasn't interested, or it just didn't work out, because at the end of the day, a campaign had begun against Ange. This campaign resulted in Ange's firing from the animation company that she was working at. And it wasn't because of this YouTube channel that Ange hosts.
Welcome to the show. I am here to share stories and very fun lore about my past lives. I came from very, very far away, from a completely different universe my soul calls the Abyss. This was our 7 layers of hell. Here I was played with by archetypal entities known as the 24 Master Builders. To us, they were gods and the creators and destroyers of worlds. As I incarnated in these worlds countless times, I learned unconditional love in the face of unfathomable fear. My collective is a group of performing aliens who are visiting to channel through me so that these stories can be shared with all of you. We hope you enjoy our show. It's going to be a poggers time.
It wasn't that weird shit. No, that's not what got Ange fired. What got Ange fired was the drawing of Lolicon. Now you might be thinking to yourself, well, yeah, fuck Ange then. Here's the problem though. James did not really care about that because James loves Lolicon.
I'm probably a little racist and a bad person. I'm not a pedo though. I just like Loli Shota. He's accused me of having child porn and makes fun of me for being into Loli. I actually thought about making Loli Shota. The reason I never made an NSFW account is a lot of it would be Loli Shota, and I don't want to get in trouble.
The reason that James here went after Ange had nothing to do with Lolicon, really. It had to do with the fact that Ange didn't suck his girl dick. That was all that came down to, really. It was just, you didn't fuck me, so fuck you and fuck your job. That was all that fucking was. It's insane. They put all their energy into canceling somebody that wouldn't fuck them, and at the cost of apparently not putting enough energy into finishing the very schooling that they were participating in while living with Carly. They didn't complete any of that shit. They actually left Carly's home, and in the end wrote this long-ass fucking Google Doc talking about how they were molested at 10 years old by their 5-year-old sibling. Yeah.
At age 10, I was molested by my sister, Eliza, who was at the time 5. This incident has permanently scarred me and informed my sex aversion and trauma.
And somehow that Google Doc circulated around the internet just enough to land in the lap of some Asia guy and some other dude with a lisp on a channel called Doc on the Radio that Jamesy here was communicating with in explaining how they were, you know, somehow molested at 10 years old by a 5-year-old because science.
You mentioned that, like, your 5-year-old sister molested you when you were 10. Like, I don't, maybe I'm like, I'm retarded or something when I'm saying this, but like, that doesn't make any sense to me. Like, I'm sorry.
Doesn't make any sense at all.
I don't understand this at all. Like, how could a 5-year-old molest you? I don't understand that. Cause like, I'm pretty sure a typical 5-year-old doesn't have like the understanding of like sex or like molestation or something like that. So like, what was going on here when you included this?
So my parents would have us shower together until we were about that age, and my sister had gotten onto kind of the couch with me, and I forget if she had a towel on or if she had taken it off, but she had climbed over on top of me and had crawled on me. And again, she either had nothing on or didn't have a or only had a towel on. And I remember describing that to a counselor that I had, and they described it as sexual abuse. I believe a counselor described it as molestation.
Did you mention that your sister was 5 years old to the counselor? And they said that was molestation?
Yes.
I'm sorry,
What?
like, I don't...
I mean, seriously, imagine saying that shit with a straight fucking face, am I right? Like, that's fucking nuts to me. But on top of all of that shit, it gets a little bit worse. And what I mean by that is that on top of everything else you've heard so far, this person also, of course, happens to have a foot fetish. I mean, look at this drawing. They're touching feet. But anyway, thanks for watching, and remember, if you ever hear of a mass shooter named James Thomas Adam, you are just not ontologically good enough to understand their motivations.